And welcome to this astrology forecast for the month of May. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the astrology for May 2023. I am a couple of minutes early today, but I just wanted to jump on and say hello, welcome. If you are new here, my name is Hannah. I am a Western Practical Astrologer. And if you're interested in any of my services, you can go to hannahselsewhere.com. You can book a reading with me. I still have a couple of slots available there for the month of May. So yeah, you can go to hannahselsewhere.com if you're interested. And if you're interested in joining the Cosmic Warriors Club, you can go to cosmicwarriorsclub.com. Hello there, Aaron. Hi, hope you're doing well. And I also want to say hello to Autumn, though that was quite a while ago that you said, I love your channel. Thank you. Thanks for being here. And then also, hello, is it Morgan? You're still, oh, yeah. I think I may remember you from way, way back. Yeah, that's so funny. But yeah, I hope you're doing well. Still here. So we're going to be talking about May 2023. There is a lot to go through today. Many things to talk about. I mean, May is going to be such an eventful month. Thank you so much. Thanks, Aaron. Hi, Danielle. How are you? Hope you're well. I hope you're all having a lovely weekend, just overall. But yeah, so let's get into this. Also, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, especially if you're new here. Okay, so we're looking at May. So these are some of the things we're going to be looking at. These are some of the real major events. So on the 1st of May, we have this Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. Of course, Pluto has been in the sign of Aquarius from about the 23rd of March. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, touch on that. And then also there is the lunar eclipse in Scorpio happening on the 5th of May. I do have a video available on my channel, so you can check that out. That's already up. Your horoscopes are available there too. And then we're going to look at Venus entering Cancer. We will be talking about this transit over at the Cosmic Warriors Club. That's actually going to be next Tuesday, I believe. And then on the 8th of May, there is the Uranus Cazimi. Of course, the Sun and Uranus will greet each other. Some exciting things ahead, actually, with that one that I will get into. And then we also have here Mercury stationing direct on the 14th of May. Okay. And of course, Mercury has been retrograde in the sign of Taurus from about the 21st of April. And then also Jupiter entering Taurus on the 16th of May. There's going to be a talk all about this transit at the Cosmic Warriors Club. That's going to be happening on the 2nd of May. So if you're interested, you can go over there and we'll talk all about it, even looking at your horoscopes and everything. Though I do hope to also talk about Jupiter in Taurus here on YouTube. Then on the 17th of May, we've got Jupiter square Pluto retrograde there. Some intense things coming up. And then we also have the new moon in Taurus happening on the 19th of May. On the 20th of May, Mars entering Leo. There will be another talk over at the Cosmic Warriors Club. But with this transit at the very beginning especially, there's going to be this fixed T-square, okay, between Mars and Leo, Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, and then Jupiter in Taurus. So there's some information to share with you today about that. And then just finishing off here, entering Gemini season on the 21st of May. We're going through the seasons over at the Cosmic Warriors Club. So we're going to look at each sign, each season throughout the year, looking at their strengths, their weaknesses, journaling questions, a lot of really interesting things to talk about there. So just to make you aware. And then lastly, closing this particular month, we have Jupiter conjunct the North Node there in Taurus. All right, so that is basically the overview of what we're going to be touching on today. And again, I just want to make you aware of the Cosmic Warriors Club. You can also go to Cosmic Warriors Club on Instagram. Now, there you get so much more like information about your horoscopes, even looking at full moon, new moon reports, transit videos, seasonal event videos. So those videos are actually live, and then you can watch them as replays after. So yeah, it's fun, it's cool. I definitely suggest that you join, but of course, it's completely up to you. And just to let you know that the May horoscopes are available at the Cosmic Warriors Club right now, so you can get access to that. Okay, so let me just check my calendar a quick second. Okay, all good. Now, like I said, Pluto will station retrograde on the 1st of May. So that's actually going to take place from tomorrow. We're on the final day of April. How are you all feeling actually with it being the final day of April? How's your April been? Did you have a nice April? Did you find it to be challenging at times? I know I find it to be quite challenging at times as well. So yeah, let us know how you find it. And of course, we're going to be greeting this new month. So with Pluto stationing retrograde here in Aquarius, that is going to be from the 1st of May to the 11th of June. So essentially what we're going to be doing here, folks, is we're going to be revisiting, reassessing societal changes. As you can probably tell, well, maybe you can or can't tell, but there's been a lot going on. Okay, things have certainly been accelerating within society. Okay, many changes, especially thinking about technological advancements, thinking about protests, people rising up. Yeah, a lot has been happening globally. And have you felt this? You know, have you seen what's been going on, even thinking about AI and just how that has all accelerated, and it does appear as though more people are talking about the C word, the C word being conspiracies. Anyway, it's like, oh, well, that was a conspiracy years ago, but now it's not. Told you so. We're seeing some of that going on, I think, online, especially. At least that's what I've been experiencing. So essentially, we're going to be kind of looking at these things more deeply. You know, when it comes to retrogrades, it's also about gaining a deeper understanding about things. So there's going to be more of this, okay, I'm going to process this more, and I'm going to really take a step back and kind of see, you know, what did I miss here? What did I not properly look at when Pluto first entered Aquarius? And what can I learn from this reassessment, the reassessment of these new technological changes, even looking at the cost of living, inflation. Yeah, that has been very, very difficult for many, many people. And so I can't help but think that we're going to gain a deeper understanding about these types of things. You know, maybe it's that a lot of people will be really reflecting heavily on their situation, and maybe they'll even join together and even push for something to change. Okay. So with this being said, reassessing the deeper meaning as well of your individuality. You know, Aquarius energy looks at the collective, it looks at communities and groups and teams, but it's also about your individuality. So looking at your place within society, your position, your unique position. So within this respect, it's about reassessing your individuality. Okay, kind of assessing, you know, where do I stand within it all? What's my role? What's my position? And then another thing is taking a closer look, taking another look at innovation. Perhaps with Pluto entering Aquarius, you know, there's these new ideas coming to the surface. Maybe you've thought of things that are slightly more outside of the box, and perhaps it is about, okay, there's a new invention here, I'm catching on to something here. What can I innovate? What can I change? But then it's about looking at these things more closely once again. Another thing is, have you experienced anything transformative since the 23rd of March? Really think, have you experienced anything that's just very, very different? If you can honestly look back on your life, okay, so just back to the 23rd of March, what has happened? What has really happened when it comes to technology, innovation, where you see yourself within teams and communities? Has there been any huge transitions for you? I'm trying to really reflect on my own personal experience with this. So I have Aquarius in the sixth house. Okay, so keep in mind your natal chart, of course, thinking about where Aquarius is within your chart. So I have Aquarius in the sixth house tied to work, daily routines, daily habits, health as well. And then I, of course, am an Aquarius. So I've got my Sun, Mercury, and Saturn all in there. So with Pluto entering this sign, I would say that there have been major shifts and major changes when it comes to what I do for work. Okay, so thinking about this entire setup, thinking about, what you're reading right now, live streaming, changing how I do things within this YouTube space. And also noticing new trends and new patterns kind of forming as well when it comes to the astrology community. And then there's also kind of what I felt anyway is like, I need to keep up here. I need to be able to keep up with all of these changes and these progressions. And I would also say with this, okay, so just feel, is it transparency, the word? But I know for myself, I can read too intensely into things. I'm on, oh, just hit my elbow there. So I would be on my phone, just like looking at different reels and reading into, how certain reels maybe correlate with the energies in astrology. I like to kind of look at real life sort of examples, or just whatever is within my environment. I like to kind of analyze it all and then relate it back to astrology. But I can take it to an extreme. I can go too far, where I read too far into things and I become too overly, I guess, mentally involved. Where I'm like, oh well, what about the world and what's going to happen? And I can become quite anxious about stuff. So for my health, right, sixth house health, I need to kind of learn to be able to separate a bit, to detach a bit, and go, I can't look at that, and I can't react. I can't be super reactive to all of that. I need to be able to tap into, how I'm actually feeling. So I would say that, yeah, the whole changes to do with society can have an impact on me mentally. I don't know if you can perhaps relate to this. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But anyway, basically, that's just drawing from a couple of examples that just came to my head. There's probably a lot more that I could talk about, but I just wanted to ground that information a little bit for you. And then another thing is, we're turning inward when it comes to our personal power. Okay, with retrogrades, it's this kind of inward motion, it's reflection, it's looking more at, what is going on here with me and how I am processing my outward experiences. And then with, of course, Pluto energy too, Pluto looks at our personal power. Another thing is, is there anything you want to revisit within groups? Anything at all? Anything when it comes to friendships, communities, your place within groups? Is there anything that springs to mind during this retrograde where you think, I'm quite different here, or I stand out in this way, or this is my kind of uniqueness within the group, or I'm not really comfortable with this scenario right now, and I don't feel like I'm actually being heard, or my individual role within this group isn't really being taken into consideration. Why is that? It's like questioning our place. And then surprises and unexpected changes. Anything lately for you? Can you think about these things? I know I'm kind of just like giving you all of this information. It's like, think about this. Maybe that is very Pluto and Aquarius, just quite like a lot, but still just reflecting then on the past few weeks and going over, okay, have there been any unexpected changes that have come up for you? What has really changed? What's been kind of flipped over? It's funny because, well, not like literally funny, but in the Uranus video, so I've been doing a series all about astronomy, which I definitely recommend watching that series. But it's astronomy meets astrology. And within the Uranus video, I talked about how Uranus is actually tipped on its side. So that to me is just it's so Aquarius. Aquarius, Uranus energy is just, you could be doing something for years and years and years and years and years, following a certain routine, a certain habit, and then boom, it changes. And that may be something that is completely outside of your control. But that's what I mean. It can be this very jarring type of energy. That's another thing, even when I further reflect on that in terms of the sixth house with routines and daily habits, because of that Aquarius energy, I find that I will stick to a certain daily routine or habit. I've got Saturn there as well, which certainly helps me stabilize things a lot better, structure things better. But just out of nowhere, I'll just change how I eat, how I exercise, whatever, and then I'll just commit to that for a long, 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 long period of time. So yeah, with Pluto entering Aquarius there, I would say that things have become more intensified. Let's say that. And then the final thing is Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio. And of course, there is going to be a lunar eclipse happening in this sign on the 5th of May, which leads me onto the lunar eclipse in Scorpio. I'm just going to read through a couple of your comments. Oh, thank you, Anna. So happy to hear you today first. Oh, cool. Well, I hope you enjoy the live stream. And that's good. Thank you, S8. And then Josh, working on myself this week. Had a big upset in your life. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that about having a big upset in your life. Hope things improve for you. Love Aquarius, sideways energy. Yeah. Aquarius is like, you don't know what you're going to get. Very unexpected. Okay. Right. So like I said, there's going to be the lunar eclipse in Scorpio on the 5th of May. Now, there is a longer video all about this. I highly recommend you watch it. So it's coming very, very soon. This will be the last eclipse in Scorpio for 9 years. So really think here about what you have learned from November 2021 when the Taurus Scorpio eclipse sets started to happen. Okay, so with, of course, the lunar eclipse being in Scorpio, there have also been eclipses in Taurus. So it's good to consider both of these signs within your chart. Look at the Scorpio-Taurus axis within your chart. But with the lunar eclipse in Scorpio specifically, this looks like a very mighty, very powerful release. It's very strong, intense energy, as you probably know. And it's also about closing a chapter that's worth paying attention to. Okay, so consider these Scorpio themes tied to transformation and even just being dynamic, being passionate. And even just if we think about how the South Node has been in Scorpio, we've been doing a lot of easing away from moving and easing away from anything that's too stuck or repressed or denied, or even thinking about being too overly possessive or paranoid or suspicious. We're getting too caught up in our own egos and trying to actually release a lot of stuff, addressing the shadow. Okay. So if we think about their Scorpio rules, our shadow side, our psyche, our unconscious. So processing a lot of that. And trying to perhaps understand it on a much deeper level, but not sort of overly attaching to it, and being able to change. And maybe we have really changed in huge, huge ways when it comes to these things. We've actually been able to move more toward greater feelings of self-acceptance or value or comfort. It's like, okay, well, I recognize these things within myself. I can be honest with myself about what I've experienced, but these things aren't going to define me for the rest of my life. And I am going to also focus on what's beautiful and harmonious in my life. I'm going to consider the things that bring me pleasure, the things that I genuinely value and enjoy. And then also considering here what rewards you have been reaping, especially rewards tied to the past. If we think about with the eclipses happening from November 2021, this is part of a huge cycle, well, a much longer cycle in comparison to normal new moon, full moons. So yeah, I would say that perhaps we have been digging deep. We've been investigating a lot more. We've been showing a great deal of resilience and inner power, inner strength, determination. But from this process, from these deeper understandings of ourselves, perhaps we gain a lot of lessons, okay? And these lessons are within themselves so rewarding. I know for myself, I have had the eclipses happening in my third and ninth houses, and then the south node has been in my third house. The north node has been in my ninth house. And I have been digging deep into why I think the way I think and the sort of patterns about, what I think and what I even believe to be true about myself. Even thinking about what I've been battling with psychologically. That's another thing with Scorpio. It's like, well, what have you been battling with psychologically, emotionally, even spiritually? Scorpio is a highly spiritual sign. So is it that there's anything else that you're still kind of battling with, during this lunar eclipse? And I suppose the thing is too, it's not like the lunar eclipse is going to happen and that's it. It's just like, okay, well, I'm over that. It's done. It's just, no, it's more about, okay, I'm just going to take this time to really reflect, and to bring things to light. Maybe it's that there will be things that come to light in respect of our psychology and our emotions, and then looking at what we can do moving forward with that knowledge. So kind of going back to what I was saying there with myself in terms of the third house, I would say that gradually there have been these mental transformations. Let's just say I talked about transformations. I think it was the last lunar eclipse in Scorpio video. I can't remember if it was that one or a different moon video, but in it, I mentioned that when it comes to my Scorpio energy in the third house with Pluto there, when it comes to things like learning and studying, when I'm met with resistance or a challenge, I'll push through. I'll keep pushing through until I overcome that challenge. And that can be such a Scorpio thing. Scorpio is the energy that goes, no, I'm not taking no for an answer here. I'm actually going to keep pushing. I'm going to push the boundaries. I'm going to actually penetrate this information in a way. I'm going to look deeper into this information, and I really, really want to understand it. But whilst there is that part of it for me where it's about information, it's also about my own mindset, the thoughts that I have about myself, the thoughts that I have about the world around me, thinking about possible fears that I have. So essentially I've been really working on these fears over the past few years. Rhyme. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so on the 7th of May, Venus will enter Cancer. All right, so Mars is already in Cancer. Both Venus and Mars will be in Cancer for a little while here from the 7th of May. So it'll be from the 7th of May to the 5th of June. Venus will be in Cancer. Okay, so with Venus entering this sign, I mean, I would say that Venus is quite comfortable in the sign of Cancer, in that, you know, we can really support each other. We can support loved ones. We can show empathy toward those that we love. We can also practice greater self-care. We can even honor our emotions more. It's like, okay, I am going to be kinder to myself. And if I'm feeling a type of way, I'm going to just allow myself to feel that. And then it's about supporting ourselves, supporting other people, being caring toward others. So being that caring influence. Cancer energy is about nurturing something. So with Venus being in Cancer, it's looking at, okay, I am going to nurture my relationships, nurture my finances, nurture the ones that I really love, and even nurturing your skills and your talents, okay? So there's that part to, well, there are those parts to Venus entering Cancer. And then it's also looking at security within relationships, how secure you feel within your relationships, how secure you feel within yourself, having emotional heart to hearts. You know, Cancer energy, this first water sign, is very much about, okay, I'm feeling this way and I'm going to be honest and raw and real about how I feel. And it's such it can be such a tender, sweet energy. It's just this cuddly, soft energy when I think of it. But with the same token, it can also be the type of energy that if you piss off the Cancer placements, if you piss off a strong Cancer influenced person, it's like, be ready for war. Be ready for, you know what, I am not going to put up with this. There can be that part of Cancer where it's like, I'm going to defend myself, defend my position. Do not mistake my kindness for weakness. Don't do that. In fact, if you do that, I will have something to say about it. So it could very well be that with Mars also being in Cancer for that time period, with Mars and Venus both being there, it could be that these themes are especially strong, okay, okay, I am going to defend what I have, what I own. I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to defend my emotions here. And then another thing is, love can be shown through affection, spending time with those you love, quality time. Okay. Yeah, I'm just becoming all bubbly and soft while I think about this energy. Yeah, I quite like the Venus and Cancer energy. I don't personally have it myself. Oh, I see there though that in the chat you said, ha ha ha, me, Cancer, Moon, Venus, and Mars. I love it. The moon is also thrown in there, and that's very, very strong then. Oh, and then you have Cancer, Sun, Venus, and Mars. Interesting. So both of you are going to experience your Venus and Mars returns. Interesting. All right. So with that being said, I want to make you aware of a couple of interesting aspects that are going to occur whilst this transit is happening. Now, this is something that I like to do over at the Cosmic Warriors Club, and I just wanted to showcase a bit of it here today so you can kind of see. But what I kind of like to do at the Cosmic Warriors Club is look at sort of aspects, especially at the beginning of the transit, and then at the end of the transit, and then even significant ones throughout that particular transit. So on the 10th of May, so just a couple months after, or months, Hannah, a couple days after Venus enters Cancer, Venus will make a sextile to the North Node. Okay, so that's going to be on the 10th of May. So this aspect, I think, will be pointing toward us really supporting our security desires. So if we think about how the North Node has been in Taurus from January 2022, we've really been focusing heavily on our security, dependability, comforts, our values, greater feelings of ease. Okay. And then the North Node is like, right, okay, this is about the future, this is about your life path. There's also this highly karmic element to the North Node as well. So, yeah, I would say with Venus in Cancer making a sextile to the North Node, it's about supporting these things. It's about nurturing these things, being caring when it comes to these things. And then Venus will make that trine to Saturn on the 12th of May. So Saturn, of course, is in Pisces. So this is looking at developing stable and secure supportive connections. But then it's also looking at how spiritually connected we feel. Okay. Is there a spiritual quality to our relationships? And also, how compassionate are we? Really, how compassionate are we within our relationships? And how compassionate also are we when it comes to ourselves? Okay. Venus being in Cancer there, and then Saturn being in Pisces, these two water signs, both of these water signs are actually very much tied to being caring and sentimental. I would even say that Pisces is quite a nostalgic sign, like a nostalgic, sentimental sign, like Cancer. So, yeah, this could be a time where we're just in the feels. We're really in the feels, as the saying goes, when it comes to our relationships, and we want to more so place our value on those types of relationships that are more meaningful to us, and just, yeah, hold them tight. And this could even be a situation where it's like, do you know what, I'm going to tell you how much I love you. I'm going to tell you that. And I'm not even going to tell you that, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you that I love you and that I care about you. It's just it's so interesting when I think about this. It's like, how often do we take that for granted when it comes to our relationships? How often do we really just focus on our, for example, our partner or our friend or our parents and go, I really appreciate you. I really value you. And I don't mean to be like dark or anything about this, but that could be the last time that you say that to them. And I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm just thinking of it. I'm just thinking of it. Of course, everybody's relationship situation is so different. And, there are certain relationships where it's like, yeah, boundaries are crossed and things are said. And there can be a lot of arguments and fights and everything. And at the same time, it's like, okay, you shouldn't feel bad if you didn't say, I love you to your parent, and then something happens. You know what I mean? It's just something that's come to my mind of like how much we can take for granted the you know what I mean? The love, that love. Anyway. And maybe I'm just being this like overly sentimental Pisces seventh house person, romanticizing it all in my head. Anyway, so another thing is Venus and Saturn will sextile Mercury retrograde around the same time. So I think with Mercury retrograde here being in Taurus, essentially we really have been revisiting practical matters, assessing our worth, our value, how much, value we even put into things. What is meaningful? What is worth it? What is valuable to us? Just assessing these things on a much deeper level, gaining a deeper understanding. But then with Saturn and Venus joining in here, again, I think this further highlights what I was saying a moment ago when it comes to those stable and secure supportive connections. Just more so reassessing these things, revisiting these things, having another look. And even if there is anything that comes up in respect of your family or your lovers or your friends. It's about then making this intentional, but it's about being intentional about the next step with it, about, okay, I'm going to be intentional about this next step and I'm going to put this into action and I'm going to actually be more practical and hands-on about this situation. Let me show you that you matter. Or, this could even apply to something that is more material. It doesn't just have to be, with Venus, doesn't just have to be people. This could even be something to do with our materials, our finances. For example, this could look like, right, okay, I am deciding here that I'm going to save for this thing. I'm going to save and I'm going to open a savings account and I'm going to put a certain amount of money in it each month. And I'm not going to be swayed here. I'm actually going to finally put a plan of action in place. I'm going to do something and I'm going to try my very best. I'm going to commit and I'm going to follow through. Show that Taurus determination here. Okay, 2 weeks later, Venus will square Chiron. So leaning more into some sensitive energy here, in that we may feel these support or protection wounds, or maybe it's about addressing these things and being sensitive about our needs. And out the process, with the square, it can suggest some tension, feelings of unease. Throughout the process, then it's about being able to bring it back to, okay, try to be gentle and patient and try to move through it. Try your best to practice kindness. And that, okay, that's easier said than done. Okay, and to be fair, I'm a total hypocrite because I am not very kind to myself a lot of the times. Okay. Right. So another thing is Venus will sextile Uranus. So this could then highlight love and pleasure changes, sudden changes, epiphanies, realizations. Okay. Just gaining a fresh perspective about family, about comforts, about home. Brilliant. Okay, so let's move on. And like I said, we'll be talking about Venus entering Cancer in the next couple of weeks at the Cosmic Warriors Club, and we'll be going through your horoscopes. And that is kind of like a taster, I suppose you could say, of what goes on in terms of aspects throughout those transits. I hope you are enjoying this so far. Okay, so I'm really excited about this one. I just went from whoo. So on the 8th of May, I'm going to be going live with Pernell Bobby. Okay, so I'm going to link his channel down below. I definitely recommend that I recommend you check out his channel. So we will be talking all about Pluto in Aquarius, but we're also going to be looking at Uranus through the signs. Of course, Uranus is the modern day ruler of Aquarius. So with Uranus going through the signs whilst Pluto is in Aquarius, there's going to be a lot of different themes coming up. So we're going to be talking about those next week. Okay, so that's going to be on the 8th of May. I'll also have more information about it leading up to it. What else do I want to say about this? But also we're going to be talking about other things. Okay, there will be a lot of other interesting things we're going to be discussing. So yeah, definitely tune into that next week. And I can't wait for you to listen. Okay, so the Uranus Cazimi, then this could also point toward a time of innovation, okay? Shattering comforts, shattering the norm, shattering what is familiar to us, okay? If we think about the Sun and Uranus being in Taurus, it's highlighting the security breakthroughs, these financial breakthroughs, possibly breaking free from certain financial situations, or having these big aha moments, like how did I not see that before? Why did I not look at it that way before? Okay, that's what I'm going to do moving forward here. Great. But then of course, Uranus can also shake things up to the point of, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? I feel like I'm losing my mind. So, okay, there's that side to Uranus. And then it's also looking at breaking free from greed, from possessiveness, from anything that's overly controlling, anything that's overly um, like holding on, right? With Taurus energy, there can be this holding on, stubborn quality to it where it's like, no, 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 I'm not going to let go. I'm not going to let go. But Uranus kind of goes, whoop, well, bye. So it's all fun, it's all fun when it comes to Uranus energy. By the way, I am a Uranus dominant person. So yeah, when it comes to sudden changes, I know all too well. I know all too well. It doesn't, just because though I Uranus dominant doesn't make it any easier, I guess. But then again, maybe it's because I have a lot of Virgo energy. Okay, I've got Jupiter in Virgo and then a Virgo rising, and I have a lot of Capricorn energy, and I just wish that things would go according to plan a lot of the time. But they don't. They don't. I'm still trying to accept that. I'm 31 years old and I'm still not there with the acceptance here. Sure. Another thing is new ways of expressing our talents, new ways of expressing our skills. You may find that there is some new hobby that you take on during the Uranus Cazimi or even leading up to it. It's like, oh, right, that's the thing. Yes, I am doing that. Fun, amazing. Or you may decide that this hobby that I've been doing for so long, or this interest that I have, no, it's just not it anymore. It's not the one. It is not the one. And I'm actually going to try something completely new and completely different. Okay. Even look at Uranus there. Like I said, it's tipped on its side. Another thing is changes to beauty, changes to harmony. I mean, this could be the simplest thing of changing up your surroundings, okay? Changing up your environment. But then I would also say that changes to our self-worth, our self-esteem, and maybe even arriving to a place of, you know what? Yeah, I have this certain quirk or this certain flaw or this thing that's not like said to be beautiful, but you know what? It is beautiful to me, and I like it. It's oh my gosh, I feel like I'm really getting caught up in the buzz of Uranus right now. And then another thing is, let's think about this on a global scale. Okay, Uranus, of course, is tied to the masses, to the collective. So this could look like inventions of new financial systems. Okay, so if we think about what's happening online, let's think about online, digital money. Okay, so should I say it? Should I say it? Okay, I'm gonna say it. So basically, I was looking on Instagram lately, and like I was saying earlier, I tend to scroll through and then I become too intense about it all and I need to take myself away. But you know what? At the same time, what I see can be used to inform, it can be used for educational purposes. So I saw there was a video, I think I can't remember the country it was taking place in. Maybe it was in the Netherlands. I could be wrong on that. Could be wrong. But I saw that there was a chip being placed into their hand. It was this part of their hand right here. And that chip was supposed to be to pay for things. So they didn't need like a card or their phone, even just for a moment, even thinking about Apple Wallet, right? This is all a process. You see that okay, let me slow down. I don't want to be too like out there, but I still want to explain this. So this is how it usually unfolds. Okay. If we were to just go to, well, everyone, we're going to put a chip in everybody's hand, you're going to pay for it, blah, 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 blah. That would be like, hell no. People be like, no, 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 that's weird. That's crazy. We're not standing for that, right? But when you do it gradually, okay? When you do it as part of a step-by-step plan where it's like, okay, well, we're going to give you a card. And now what we're going to do is we're going to step it up a notch and we're going to say, hey, you can have a digital card where it's on Apple Wallet and then you can pay with your phone. Like, okay, yeah, sure. And then it's like, we're going to put it in your hand. That's not as as the previous thing. It's still pretty wild and it's still pretty out there, of course. But you get what I mean. I hope you kind of get what I'm talking about here, okay? Okay. Where it's a gradual process. It's conditioning, right? It's social conditioning. And so this is what we are kind of coming to here. And I'm not sure if people will push back against it strongly. I'm not sure if this type of stuff will be a permanent thing of the future. I'm not really sure, but I'm just bringing this back to Uranus, to Pluto being in Aquarius, to these changes that we're noticing. And we're also going to look then at the real questioning of these things. Is it ethical, for example? Is it ethical? You may say, well, it's their choice, it's their body, it's their hand, etc., etc. Okay, but it's still questioning these things. And I don't think it's a straightforward answer. And if you think about it too, these things are very, very new and we don't know the long-term impacts. We don't know, for example, how long those things can be in the hand or in the skin, or what they can do to us, in terms of our health, our well-being. This makes me think of something else that I think ties in with what I'm trying to get at here. Okay, so think about cosmetic surgery, right? Think about people who decide to get cosmetic surgery, especially breast implants. Okay, breast implants. I didn't know until probably a few years ago. I didn't know that when it came to breast implants, the breast implants can be so deadly for the body that there's all sorts of health implications that can happen. And also that you need to get them replaced after like 10 years or whatever amount of years. I could be wrong on that, but I didn't know these things. So if you can kind of see here that when it comes to new developments, when it comes to new changes that haven't been around for long and you're experimenting with them and you're trying to see, what will happen in the meantime, that's the whole point. You don't know. You don't know until 10 years down the line, okay, well, these are the consequences of what's happening here. 20 years down the line, okay, well, these are the changes here. You have to be able to assess the process. And then it's, like I said, it's bringing it back to, okay, questioning. It's about becoming informed. I only learned that a few years ago about the whole breast implant stuff. But what if I didn't know that? What if I didn't question that? What if I didn't do my own research to see what that exactly entails? Then I'd be in a very sticky situation later on when I'm in a situation where maybe I didn't save enough money and then I need to get them redone, but I can't afford to get them redone. So yeah. Even thinking about the veneers that a lot of people are getting, apparently there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong with those, and you need to get them changed every so often, and that's a lot of money. So basically here, folks, I think what's important to keep in mind when it comes to these new sort of changes, it's about being able to think for ourselves, right? It's being able to really think for ourselves, right? Okay, let me question that. Let me think about that more. And then we can move forward from there. Okay. And then the last thing here is coming out of the lunar eclipse. We have been assessing our fears regarding change, but also the resistance to change. But with the same token, change isn't necessarily always a good thing. Change can often be forced and put people in very uncomfortable, unethical situations. So basically, the lunar eclipse in Scorpio because this is now before the lunar eclipse happens, but so the lunar eclipse in Scorpio will highlight these types of things, okay? Okay, Mercury will station direct in Taurus on the 14th of May. So Mercury has been retrograde from the 21st of April, but coming out of the Mercury retrograde, keep in mind the post-shadow period, okay? So there will be the post-shadow period from the 14th of May to the 31st. So from the 14th of May for the rest of the month, it's about, okay, let me think a little bit about what I've learned. What did I really learn here from this retrograde? What security, financial matters did you revisit? Even thinking about what you learned, what you reassessed when it came to pleasures, comforts, and values. Okay, so yeah, it's just kind of going over things again, and maybe even seeing what you have gained, what you have learned, which then can be brought forward. And also, did you slow down and make intentional decisions? So coming up to the post-shadow period, it's like, okay, did you really slow down? Were you able to be purposeful, deliberate, intentional? I know for myself, I'm really done with the urgency of purchasing things. So what I'm kind of used to is if for example there is an event coming up and I need to buy some dress or outfit for it, I will look at all of the options and I will feel this pressure to know exactly, right, this is what I want, this is what I'm going to get. I rush through it. I do have an Aries moon. My secondary progressed Mercury is also in Aries. So I tend to be quite quick, right? Need to find it. But Mercury in Taurus, I think for myself, has been helping me assess that part of me that goes, oh. It's like bringing awareness to that part of me and going, stop doing that. You don't need to make a decision right now. You still have X, Y, and Z until you still have, sorry, let me rephrase that. You still have this amount of weeks until the event happens. And have you actually assessed what is within the information, right? So looking at what kind of material is it made of, and will you need it for another event later on? Let me think of other things. What color do you think will suit you well? Will it go with the shoes that you own? It's like running through the list of things. Now, of course, I do have Virgo energy, and I can be like this anyway. But basically, Taurus is coming along, and it's adding an extra layer of sort of ease, going, stop worrying so much about it. Actually, it's not the end of the world. I tend to worry about a lot of things. But I think Mercury retrograde in Taurus has been coming here and it's been showing us that we can properly go, do I need to worry about that? Do I need to think about that right now? Is that something that's really valuable to me right now? No? Okay, stop doing it then. Maybe that is easier said than done, okay? But this, I think, is what's been sort of coming up for us whilst Mercury has been retrograde. And then from the post-shadow period, it's looking at, did you try to ease your mind or were you worried? And even if we're in the present right now, saying as we're going through Mercury retrograde, is there anything that's worrying you right now? Let's even think about how the moon is currently in Virgo. Okay, the day that I am recording this, it's on the 30th of April, 2023. The moon is in Virgo and the sun and Mercury retrograde are both in Taurus and they're making this lovely trine. This can suggest a day of, productivity, reorganizing, reassessing our materials in a way where we're cleaning up our environment, decluttering, all that good stuff, right? Great. But I also think it's highlighting a time period of trying to relax the mind, trying to have greater ease when it comes to our thoughts instead of getting caught up in the, you know. So yeah, I think that Mercury retrograde is showcasing these qualities, and I think just the part of having more of a calmer mind can be so beneficial for our health, for our nervous system. I think that Mercury, then within this way, if we think about how it's connected to the nervous system, so yeah, the Mercury retrograde is kind of helping us slow down our nervous system and regulating our emotions, and more so even focusing on, our body, our senses. How are we feeling? Are we feeling grounded? Are we feeling secure right now? Do things feel genuinely stable and secure? Or is it that we're just moving on to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing? And I am trying to really, I suppose, honor this Mercury retrograde this time around in Taurus, and be more aware of times when my mind is overly scattered. Okay, any communication issues? How can you move forward? So, we all know this when it comes to Mercury retrograde. It's famous for communication issues, it's famous for technology issues. It's like, oh, my phone's being too slow. Mercury retrograde. I banged banged my elbow. I was so close to saying Mercury retrograde, or like, oh, I said a different date, and earlier I said a different word or a different date, and then I was so close to saying Mercury retrograde. it's so, it's just so funny that like that is such a popular thing. But I suppose, that is the thing when it comes to Mercury retrograde. It can be that there are certain technological things that do not go according to plan, communication issues, right? It's like, oh, this person isn't listening to me. They're not listening to me. They're not listening to me. It's like, no, it's just because you're being impatient, or it's just because you're needing to know an answer right now. Maybe it's about doing a little bit of inner reflection here. Yeah, so yeah, consider these communication issues and how you respond to them, right? How you react in the moment. Because Taurus is kind of coming along and saying, it's all right, just try and chill a little bit. If it doesn't happen right now, or if there is a bit of a slip up, whatever, it's okay. You can sort it out. You'll sort it out. Just be patient here. It's not the end of the world here. Another thing is, did you make sure all areas were covered? This Mercury retrograde is such a good opportunity to just get everything looked at again. Thinking about how your online things are organized, right? So if I reflect and I think about the Excel sheets that I have, the scripts that I have online, I'm trying to make sure that it's all polished and clean. Of course, that even highlights my Virgo energy, but the Taurus is also saying about, okay, read it through. Okay, right, that's good. But you know what? You don't actually have to post that right now. You can wait until tomorrow or a couple of hours. So then waiting a couple of hours means you can make sure that everything is done and everything is finalized. Because you took a beat, because you were slower, and because you were thorough as well, that final product is going to look really good. So yeah, it's like, make sure that everything is covered. Have you really thought over everything? Anything that you've missed out? And okay, if there are certain things that you missed out, it's also like, okay, it's not the end of the world, right? But I know for me, I got into such a habit of like, oh, I need to do this post for Instagram right now. No. Aries energy. No. I need to type it all up, and I would read through it, right? I would read through it, blah 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 blah. But then I would post it, and then I'm like, oh, damn, I didn't say that word correctly. And then I think that's because I was so insisting on having it done now, right? So of course I'm going to miss things out because I'm like rushing, because I'm pushing to have that thing done now. But Taurus energy is like, how about you plan it out? How about you make sure that all areas are covered before you do that? And then things are going to come out so much smoother, so much nicer. Lovely. Okay, what practical lessons did you learn? Okay, Taurus energy is very much about practicality. And then the final thing is, did anything new or exciting come up for you? You know, it's interesting because at the beginning of this retrograde, Mercury was conjunct Uranus. And so it's been kind of highlighting this journey of innovation. So it could be suggested that with Mercury stationing retrograde and then even stationing direct, and then it'll make that conjunction to Uranus again. It's about, okay, new exciting things, new ideas. All right. We've been here for a while, but you know, I hope you're still enjoying it. Okay, so Jupiter is going to enter Taurus. This transit I am really looking forward to. So this is going to take place from the 16th of May up until, I can't remember the exact date, but sometime in May 2024. So for the next year or so, Jupiter will be in Taurus, and this will happen 2 days after Mercury stations direct. Okay, with this one, what I want to mention is just remember the process here of Mercury being in Taurus, because the things that we're currently reassessing and reevaluating when it comes to our finances and security right now, well, with Jupiter then entering Taurus, it's going to expand these things. There may be even blessings, good luck, fortune, lovely things that can come from this transit. So yeah, it could be that what we have revisited over the past few weeks will be expanded, so to speak, okay? Because Jupiter energy expands whatever it touches, but of course Jupiter will be following that path again. Right, so with this one too, I want to say that this transit will help ease the Saturn and Pisces energy. So with Saturn being in Pisces, and then the traditional ruler of Pisces is Jupiter. Jupiter being in Aries, I mean, the two, that combination can be kind of like a stop and starter. That can be a I really want things to happen now. I really want them to, but actually I do need to just surrender and let go right now. But still, Jupiter in Taurus, okay, again, the traditional ruler being so the traditional ruler of Pisces being Jupiter, with that being in Taurus, then it's going to help ease this energy, okay? Because there's going to be a sextile forming. It's going to help ease the Saturn and Pisces energy, help us kind of feel more grounded, more secure within our bodies. Yeah. And with Jupiter, like I said, it can expand whatever it touches. So this could look like increased materials, increased resources, increased money for many of us. But at the same time, it's also like, be careful what you wish for when it comes to Jupiter. Because what's the whole saying? I talked about this in the Saturn video with the astronomy meets astrology, but I said that the whole saying of more money, more problems. Okay, if you think about, oh, I'm going to add to my security right now, okay, because I'm making more money. So because I'm making more money, I'm going to get a bigger house, or I'm going to get a bigger car, or I'm going to get more shoes, or I'm going to get my hair done more. But then it's like, be cautious of that, because you need to think it through. Is it sustainable, for example? Is that lifestyle that you're doing, the increased lifestyle in terms of your finances and your resources, is it sustainable? Okay, and maybe Jupiter and Taurus will help us kind of assess those bigger picture questions as well. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of add that, but still, Jupiter, of course, looks at blessings and good fortune and good luck and everything. So there is that side to Jupiter. So looking at added materials, even added sensuality, okay, added pleasures, comforts, greater feelings of ease, more security, greater inner security. Okay, it's like, yes, I finally I'm at this point where I'm just unapologetically me, and I'm not going to care about the haters. I'm not going to care about people who try to drag me down here. It's like this big boost, I suppose, of confidence and self-acceptance here. And then another thing is inspiring others with practical advice. Okay, Jupiter loves to preach. Loves to Jupiter loves to inspire the masses and say, hey, you know what? These are my experiences, and this is the knowledge that I know, and I'm going to share all of this with you. But it's all going to be practical, okay? This is Taurus energy by being practical, being demonstrative. Another thing is feeling hopeful and optimistic about our security. Okay, there may be many of us who actually feel really good about the next step, about a security situation or practical situation where it's like, oh, I'm smiling about this. I'm happy about this. I feel so content. I feel so good. I'm completely smiling right now. Like when I feel this, like, oh, it's Jupiter. It's Jupiter. I find it so funny how I don't even catch myself doing it. Well, when I do catch myself doing it, of course, I'm aware. But basically, I tend to, when I'm talking about these placements, my expression, just my facial expressions just highlight the types of energies. And then I'm like, oh, I'm doing that right now. I'm bringing awareness to it. Oh, it's so funny. Okay, another thing is feeling extra beautiful. Okay, extra beautiful, extra attractive, fashionable. You know what this could be, right? This is making me smile so much. Like I have gotten really emotional on this channel at times. But this is like making me emotional in like a happy way. So this is making me think about how perhaps many of us find our style, right? Or we are able to embrace a certain style or kind of fashion sense that makes us feel so freaking good about ourselves, right? And it's like, do you know what? I accept my body, or like I accept how I look. I accept my hairstyle. I love my hairstyle. Yes, it's not that energy. Jupiter's just like big it up, big it up, big it up, go, go, go. I'm gonna cheer you on. Yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh. And then another thing is just this is why I was kind of smiling as well, is because I have been right. I have been thinking lately that I would like to cut my hair short, okay? And I mean like really, really short, the shortest it's ever been. And I've been looking into like doing little knots, the little parted knots that you can do in your hair. And I stumbled upon them on Google, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love that look. I love it. I love it. I love it. Should I do it? And I'm thinking, is Jupiter and Taurus kind of aligning with this energy a little bit, in terms of, right, okay, I'm going to try something completely fresh and new when it comes to my appearance, when it comes to my fashion sense. And I'm just going to love it. And yeah, so basically here, folks, this is about embracing your beauty. And even trying something outside of your comfort zone, but yet at the same time, Taurus loves everything within its comfort zone. So I suppose it's like, okay, there's an element of that going on as well. Okay, so blessed with loyalty and determination, blessed with being committed and persistent. So we may feel like, you know what, I'm really good at being determined. I feel like I've developed really good skills and qualities in terms of my determination, my commitment. And then even considering how Taurus is such a loyal sign, I would say arguably that Taurus is the most loyal sign of the zodiac. So with Jupiter entering this sign, it can look at, okay, blessed with loyalty, an extra dose of loyalty here, and also an extra dose of patience. Being patient with ourselves, with others, being extra steady and stable, and perhaps also looking at talents when it comes to art, when it comes to our skills, right? So thinking about talents when it comes to art and talents when it comes to skills. But no, basically what I'm trying to say here is this could very well be that a particular skill or talent or hobby we have, that being expanded, that being increased, or we decide, actually, do you know what, I want to learn more about something, but I want to do it really slowly and practically, and I'm going to take my time with it. I'm going to be gradual. Taurus energy is very slow and steady energy. It's not about rushing forward. It's about, okay, I'm going to take in the environment, take in the situation. Yeah, so this could even be a situation where you decide to travel. Okay, so Jupiter is connected with long distance travel. So you decide to travel to a different country, and you find that you take your time. You really take your time to indulge and enjoy yourself and to experience that new culture, that new way of life. Or it's that even you decide to take on a new higher educational program. I will not be doing that, may I say. I will not be doing that because I just got out of doing a 7-month course, and that was a lot of commitment. I'm so glad that I completed it, but boy, it was challenging. But yeah, still with Jupiter being in Taurus, I mean, Jupiter tied to knowledge, higher education, the Taurus energy then can suggest, okay, you know what, maybe I'm going to take up a higher educational course tied to cooking or something environmental, something more environmental, and finances as well, right? We could be even educating ourselves further on our finances. I would say too, right? So because following on from that, it just sprung to my mind. I would say that with everything that's happening in terms of the cost of living and inflation, and even these feelings of unease and insecurity, right? Where it's like, oh my gosh, things are not very stable right now. So when it comes to all of this collective stuff that we're experiencing, maybe Jupiter and Taurus is going to point towards some people wanting to actually educate themselves about money, about their resources, about how to take care of their resources, not just looking at their finances here, but even people educating themselves on how to grow their own food, for example, how to I'm trying to think of other things, uh, educating themselves on how to just have a greater sustainment of life, how to sustain themselves, how to practice greater security. So just becoming more educated when it comes to security and stability there. And then I would say here too, with Jupiter being in Taurus, this could look like greater spending habits. But with the same token, I'm trying to highlight here us gaining more knowledge about our spending habits, okay? Really thinking about the bigger picture when it comes to how we spend our money, how we save, how we invest, how we budget, all that good stuff. And also, more eating may be possible. More eating, right? More enjoying our food, taking our time when it comes to our food. But really, you know what? I'm going to appreciate this food. I'm really going to appreciate it. And possibly even, more spending in terms of buying a lot of stuff. And that would be something I would say just be cautious, right? Just be cautious when it comes to overconsumption, basically, is what I'm trying to say here. Excess. When it comes to Jupiter energy, it can be excessive. We can go overboard, and that may not be the healthiest thing for us either. Okay. Then the last thing is gaining wisdom about wealth, but also harmony. Okay. Living in harmony, not just with other people, but harmony with the environment, harmony with the earth. That was kind of what I was trying to get at earlier. Just any sort of education to do with getting to know more about the planet, the earth. These things are very much about Taurus, okay? And Jupiter in Taurus may look at, okay, right, I want to become more informed here. And I even want to share more information. I want to pass on the knowledge that I learn about these things to other people because I feel like they really need to know. Same thing when it comes to finances and resources. Oh, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed talking about that. But, okay, this is one I'm not going to enjoy talking about so much. All right, so Jupiter will square Pluto retrograde on the 17th of May. And so what we're noticing with this particular aspect is things are going to be quite strong throughout May and even a part of June. So what I'm about to say here is going to be quite strong throughout May and a part of June. So what this could look like is wealth. So the wealth blessings I was all talking about, these wonderful, amazing things to do with Jupiter and Taurus, right? But such things being challenged by societal pressure and change, by restrictions, by limitations, by chaos. Okay, thinking about collective chaos, thinking heavily actually about the tension that is building currently within society. Things are intensifying, and like I was saying earlier, there's the accelerating, right? Things are moving very rapidly and perhaps in a very uncomfortable way. And so, looking here at the tension regarding our security because of unexpected change, because of change actually that maybe many people do not want, because it's like, well, these are the changes that are happening anyway, regardless if you like it or not. But a lot of people are at a point where it's like, no, society pressures within society is building. And I'm not sure if you have felt this within your own lives. Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm looking over at the comments right now, and yes, people are saying the world has been quite chaotic lately. It's a mess. So, yeah, for yourselves and even people who are watching this and you're not watching it live, reflecting on your own lives here. But there's a lot of people who have just had enough. And Pluto, okay, there's going to be a Pluto video. It's going to be the final video from the Astronomy Meets Astrology series. I really recommend you watch the Pluto video when it comes out. I would say it's probably it's going to be my favorite one from the entire series, because Pluto, you see, it's such an important energy. It looks at collective survival, right? Pluto is like this, it can highlight this very animalistic part of us, the part of us that's like, I am going to fight for my life here. I am going to fight for my life here. I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to protect my family. People have had enough. Okay. And then looking here at collective change, also clashing with people's overconsumption. Okay, think about the Jupiter and Taurus themes. Overconsumption, greed, possessiveness. So I'm not going to say too much more about that, but I would recommend watching the Pluto video because I'm going to touch on some things there. So yeah, I recommend watching that. And then another thing is the fixed signs are coming into the equation here. Okay, the fixed signs, it's like, no, I'm going to be persistent about this. I'm putting my foot down. I'm not actually going to budge. And I'm going to be stubborn. And that can be in a way where it's like negative or positive, right? Depending on, of course, the exact context or situation. But I just kind of see this as this push-pull, this financial security friction, financial security friction about survival, people's survival, the society. And then I also think it's what's coming up here is knowing our values and refusing to back down when they're being challenged by forced change. Yeah, Aquarius energy, even thinking about how it's strongly tied to revolution, rebellion. And following on from this point, I really was interested to see what was going on when Pluto was retrograde in Aquarius and when Jupiter was in Taurus last, and when they made a square. I think the square was 14 degrees, but I could be wrong. My apologies for not having that on hand, but at hand. But I wanted to share just a quick piece of information from this, which I will be providing the article below. There's a couple of different sources about this. So August 1786 to February 1787, there was the Shays Rebellion. And just putting this into a few words, I'm not going to pretend and sit here, like I know exactly what happened. I just looked at the very basic information here. And what jumped out at me was this uprising in Western Massachusetts. Sorry for saying that so incorrectly. In opposition to high taxes and stringent economic conditions. So basically strict economic conditions there. So let's think. I just think about how, with the cost of living and things rising, right? It's harder for people to pay for things, to pay for their basic needs. So this within itself, correlating with this moment in time, right? Of that opposition to high taxes and to those very strict economic conditions. Again, it goes back to the whole thing that I said there, where it's like people have had enough. Okay, on a much lighter note, there will be the new moon in Taurus taking place on the 19th of May. And consider here as well the eclipses that have been happening from November 2021. There will be a lunar eclipse in Taurus on the 20th of October. So there will be a lot of releasing going on then, and to do with the Taurus themes. But this, of course, is a new moon. So it's a bit of a lighter energy. It's, of course, not going to be as intense or as strong as an eclipse in Taurus. But you know what? I think this moon, it's pointing towards something that perhaps we need individually, collectively. So looking at these new chapters tied to our self-worth, planting new seeds when it comes to our values, our security, embracing new beginnings when it comes to our growth, harmony, beauty, love. I talked a good bit about Jupiter being in Taurus. So that transit, but with the new moon here coming into the equation, it's right, okay, we're going to set some new intentions here. We are going to embrace some new beginnings here, a new cycle. And it's about focusing here on greater feelings of ease and calm. The moon, of course, is strongly tied to our emotions, our emotional security. So it's about, trying to ground ourselves and thinking about what we do in order to ground ourselves, in order to center ourselves. And then on that note, the new moon will make a sextile to Mars in Cancer. So big focus on family, home, and materials. We've talked about Venus entering Cancer. We talked about how Mars will be in Cancer as well for a little bit. So with Cancer and Taurus being big kind of key players here throughout May, I would say that there are these themes about, okay, family, home, security. You know what? I would say that given everything that is happening in terms of the collective, okay, so thinking about the social scale stuff, I think what Taurus and Cancer are trying to remind ourselves about is holding the ones that you love close. And that is something that I guess you could say earlier came to my mind, right? I was talking earlier about how often we take for granted sharing our love, expressing our love, showing our love toward others. And I would say I was quite playful with it, quite lighthearted about it, laughing about it. And I do have a Gemini midheaven, so I can come across like that, I think, here. But at the same time, I want to highlight the seriousness of that too, or maybe not the seriousness, maybe that's not the best word, but the significance. The significance of reminding others that we love, that we care. And yeah, I just think that the new moon in Taurus is going to highlight these themes a bit. And just I think the month of May, it's going to be a month where it's like, okay, we're really tapping into our personal power. It's about knowing our values, knowing our self-worth. And I think that can go in conjunction with our family and the people that we truly cherish and love. And then also just considering how we look after ourselves, how we can experience greater emotional ease. Okay, thinking about our emotional security. Okay, another pretty intense thing that I want to mention is Mars will enter Leo on the 20th of May. So this means there's going to be a T-square actually happening between Leo, Aquarius, and Taurus. So what does this suggest? This suggests that from about the end of May throughout a little bit of June, I would say, what we're going to sort of feel here is this defense of like, no, I need to protect myself. I need to defend myself. Independence here, rebellion, perhaps, fighting, retaliation, more alerts about war. It's like a me sort of attitude. And the me, of course, can be done so in this highly arrogant, egotistic way. But you know what? That can also express itself or show itself through, yes, actually, I am going to be selfish here. And I do need to think about me. Like, why are you saying that I should put you first? Okay, I want to share this quickly. I've been trying to just kind of go through this a bit quicker because we've been here for a long time and I hope that I'm not keeping you for very long. There's a lot that I've talked about today, but I just want to share something quickly that I saw on Instagram. No, sorry, it was YouTube. So if you're familiar with Abraham, oh my gosh, I've forgotten her name. I am going to find her name right now. I really want to share this quickly. It just says Abraham. I'm pretty sure it's Abraham. Yes, it's Abraham Hicks. Yeah. I was going to say Abraham Hicks there, but I didn't want to be wrong. Okay, yeah, so if you're familiar with Abraham Hicks, thank you so much, Mac. Thank you. Right, so yeah, in a video I watched by her, it's quite an old video, but she said that she teaches selfishness in that, okay, this is kind of how it goes. I'm probably paraphrasing a lot here, but it went something like, yes, I am going to be selfish. Why do you think that I should do what you want? Because by doing what you want, surely that is suggesting you're being selfish. Do you see see what I mean? I'm probably not explaining it the best way, but I just find that quite interesting. I find it quite parallel with this Mars in Leo energy and even parallel with the North Node moving into Aries here in July. And we've got a lot happening in the sign of Aries. So it's sort of just saying, okay, yeah, you know what? In life, we do need to be selfish. And if other people are demanding that we stop being selfish and we serve them instead, but they're punishing us or judging us for being the thing that they're being. That is basically what I'm trying to get at here. And that is something that I took away from what Abraham Hicks was saying. So yeah, I think that Mars in Leo with the T-square going on is going to bring up a lot of these themes. And then also looking at things like our safety. It may be that there are moments when we feel unsafe, thinking about those financial collapses, security collapses, having to defend ourselves, having to stand up for ourselves, to stand up for our rights as well. This can be a pretty wild and dramatic time. And another thing here that I just want to further mention is, so Black Moon Lilith will actually be in Leo during this time. I think it's already in Leo, Black Moon Lilith. I often do not follow the journey, the orbit of Black Moon Lilith, but I'm pretty sure that it is in Leo right now, and it will be there when Mars enters Leo. So I think this is pointing toward just rage, anger, right? Whew, heavy stuff here. Yeah, rage and anger from the collective. And again, going back to this whole thing of enough is enough, we've had enough. But Mars and Leo can also point toward taking pride in our actions, right? Being proud of how we act, being proud of ourselves. And that can be quite powerful, and being even confident as well, showcasing confidence. Mars in Leo as that kind of natal energy is like, no, I'm going to be myself. I'm not going to apologize for being myself. Like, why would you not want me to be myself? That doesn't compute. What, you want me to change being who I am to suit you, to suit your insecurity right now? Yeah. And then it's also looking at being energized by art, by creativity, by romance, by love. This energy could be so passionate and entertaining and fun. It's like, yes, where's the party? Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. I like Leo energy. I do. So yeah, there can be some really fun, playful, enjoyable things that come from this transit. Of course, we're going to be talking about this transit as well over at the Cosmic Warriors Club. And then another thing is motivating ourselves, being our own cheerleader. It's like, you know what? Yeah, I am pretty awesome, right? I am pretty awesome. I am going to cheer myself on. I am going to tell myself, you know what? I look great, or I am really good at that. I'm pretty sure I was watching a thing the other day. It was to do with Lady Gaga. I can't remember where I saw it, but so I think Lady Gaga is an Aries, and do keep in mind that the sun is exalted in the sign of Aries, and she is just like, yeah, you know what? I am going to applaud myself or recognize myself. Why should I not? Why would you not want me to? It's that kind of attitude. So I just wanted to draw from a quick example there, just from what I saw. And then as well, it's about being a leader, being a boss. And Leo energy is like, yes, I am a leader here. It's about me directing my life. And of course, with Mars, this planet to do with motion, forward motion, being direct. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm going to be direct here and be a leader and stand up for myself. And then it's looking at being excited about your goals, being excited about your hobbies, your passions, your interests. Yes, yes, yes. And then it's looking at following our hearts. And what I want you to keep in mind with this one is Venus will enter Leo on the 5th of May. So pay attention here to what's coming up. Of course, both Mars and Venus will be in Leo for a bit. But then as well, Venus will station retrograde from the 22nd of July to the 3rd of September. So we've some things coming up here, which I will talk more about closer to the time. Okay, and then Gemini season will begin on the 21st of May. So basically, we're going to be going from steady grind, security, to flexibility, switching things up, new ideas, being very expressive and entertaining and humorous and, being playful, right? Gemini energy is such a lighthearted, playful, amusing energy. And it's also about, so finishing projects, okay, with the Taurus season, finishing projects to having a change of scenery. This could look like with Taurus season, a lot of us are just focusing on, right, I need to get this completed. I need to get this completed. It's not done until it's completed. So I'm going to be steady here and get it done. But then Gemini season will come along and it's just going to go, woohoo, not literally like that, not so strong like that, but it's more like do you know what, I'm going to try something completely new here. Yeah, I'm going to try something new and exciting, and I've been doing this for so long and it's time for me to change something up so that I don't go freaking crazy. I need a change of scenery. I need a holiday. I need to try that drink. Oh, that's really nice. I need to go to this place for a lovely walk. I need to switch up where I go for coffee every single day. Just those little changes that we make to our everyday, to conversations, to our job, to our work, they could go a long way, right? Um, and then you can also, from moving things around, by changing things, you can gain new perspectives. Even thinking about anything that you're working on, right? With the Taurus energy, like I was saying, Taurus energy looks at, okay, make sure all the areas are covered, right? Okay, great. All of that is in place. It's stable. It's secure. Good to go. But then Gemini comes along and is able to go, do you know what? I could have learned something else from that. You know what? I could actually learn something else. And I could bring that new thing that I just learned to a future experience. And that's great because we're always learning. Gemini's like, I'm always learning, always. Another thing is being investigative. Gemini energy is very investigative. It's the researcher, and even shining a light on how we think, how we teach, how we learn, how we present, how we inform. It's interesting because I have been looking into the human design lately. And I discovered human design years and years ago, and I do not know much about it, very, very little. I was, I suppose, to get really into it with learning the system and everything. But then I was like, no, I cannot learn both astrology and human design in depth. I need to just stick to astrology. And still, I've got human design there as something I can maybe look into a little bit more. It's more for fun, etc., etc. And in human design, I am a 1-3. So I'm pretty sure the one line is the investigator. And then the third line is the martyr. Now, I'm just focusing a little bit on the investigator because this is so true for me, because I feel like I'm constantly researching, I'm constantly investigating, I'm constantly like changing things up when it comes to what I do here. And with the Gemini midheaven, I just think, oh, that is such a representation of the investigator. Have you looked into human design? I'm so curious to know. Have you looked into it? Do you know your type? Your authority and everything. I know for me, I am a projector. So I have to wait for the invite. I have to wait for invitations, which when I first discovered it, I was like, oh gosh, this is terrible. This is terrible. But anyway, it's interesting to learn about, and really overall, when it comes to anything, it's like, okay, grain of salt. you know yeah, but I still find human design to be really, really interesting. Oh, there's people here who have, I love it, you're 5-1. Okay, so you have the one line as well, but it's like in your unconscious self. Danielle, so you have as well, you're 6-3. Ooh, interesting. I have no idea what that means, but that's really cool. You know what? It's good to hear that people have been looking into human design. I would like to learn more about it. I just love watching loads of YouTube videos about it. That's how I get most of my information. Right. So I'm going way off track here. See, I'm embodying the Gemini energy and going off on tangents. Right. So Gemini season will also bring about possible laughter, amusement, kind of what I was saying earlier, but then also lack of focus. Lack of focus, what I was doing there just a moment ago, going off on a tangent. But then at the same time, there can be a lot we can gain from going off on tangents. There can be more that we can learn. We can inform people in different ways. It's like, yes, I'm going to have a conversation with you and talk to you about this particular situation that happened to me, but I'm also going to tell you this story and this story and this one that connects in with it. And whilst it may be going off track to what the actual story is, you're going to learn so much about my life, about my experience. Hey, that's Gemini. Okay. You are a manifesting generator. Interesting. Okay. I don't know what that means either. All right. So, another thing then is adopting and moving things around. Not adopting, sorry, adapting to things. Okay, being flexible and then moving things around. Kind of what I was saying earlier. It's like, okay, maybe there's something I can shift about here, something I can change, something I haven't thought of yet. Okay, great. There's the idea. And lastly, embracing the many sides of our personality. We're all multifaceted people. We act differently in front of certain people in comparison to other people. And that can be amazing. You know, Gemini energy is often seen for being two-faced, but I just think it highlights that we we can show different sides of ourselves all the time to certain people. Just depends on who you're around, depends on the mood you're in, etc., etc. So these are the things that perhaps will come up for us during Gemini season. And lastly, let's look at Jupiter conjunct the North Node. So this is going to happen at the end of May, this conjunction. And so we're going to be closing the month with perhaps this inspirational message for the collective, for ourselves. This looks at things like fortune, blessings, hope, having hope, being optimistic, thinking about faith, right? Jupiter energy is strongly tied to faith. And then, of course, there is the luck element to Jupiter there too. So I just think that with the Taurus, so for Taurus season, and then with Mercury retrograde in Taurus, and then even with the new moon happening in Taurus here in May, there's just a lot of themes coming up to do with our security and our stability, etc., and our values and self-worth too. But I think with the conjunction to the North Node, perhaps this is going to give us an opportunity to really think about, right, okay, the bigger picture. What is the bigger picture of my life? Like, where do I see myself here in 5 years, in 10 years? What do I want to build? What do I want to create? What can I steadily, gradually build toward? What stepping stones am I willing to put in place? Now, I'm aware that there are certain limitations and restrictions as well, but what can I do within those limitations and restrictions? But at the same time, consider how with that square to Mars, again, it goes back to these other things. So, these things to do with defending our values, defending what we own, defending our possessions. So I would still say with that, it's like, just be cautious of things that threaten our security as well. And then even thinking about fighting for the things that we're building, fighting for the things we're building and nourishing for the future, fighting for those things, protecting them, defending them. And consider, like I said, overconsumption, overindulgence, taking things too far, even being highly idealistic when it comes to Jupiter. It's like, I want to make 20 grand in the next 2 days. No. Okay, I'm being silly. I really am being silly. But yeah, I think still Taurus energy is still having a level of being realistic, okay? Trying to bring ourselves down to earth a little bit instead of being too caught up in our ideals. Okay, and then with this, what does the future hold when it comes to our security? And this is something I want to inform you about is in 12 years' time, of course, keep in mind that Jupiter travels through all 12 signs in 12 years. It spends about 1 year in one sign. So in 12 years' time, Jupiter makes another square to Pluto retrograde, and then Saturn will also be opposite in Leo. Okay, and remember the Mars energy and Leo there as well with squares and everything. So yeah, 12 years time, just kind of see how things progress. Maybe I'll make a video about this in 12 years time, and then I'll look back on now and it's like, hey, I mentioned that. Anyway, I just wanted to make you aware of those interesting like connections. Okay. All right. So that is May. That is May 2023, everyone. I recognize I've been here for an hour and 45 minutes. I was supposed to come on for 45 minutes, but I've been talking and talking and talking. But I just want to say here a big, massive thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. I really hope that you have enjoyed this session today. For those of you who have watched the whole thing, absolutely applaud to you. But yeah, thank you. I really enjoy these live streams. I love coming on here and just talking about the astrology. I love this topic or this subject so much, and I just really want to inform you about what is going on astrologically. So if you have enjoyed this live stream today, then you can always buy me a coffee if you like. You can go to the link in the this description box. There's the little code there as well. Also, if you're interested in any of my services, you can go to hannahselsewhere.com. There my readings are available. I've still got some spaces available for the end of May. And then respectfully, you can join the Cosmic Warriors Club. We're going to be talking about Jupiter entering Taurus here on the 2nd of May. And there's a lot of events currently up there. There's horoscopes for May up there at the moment. But yeah, that is cosmicwarriorsclub.com. Thank you so much, everyone. And I hope you have like a lovely Sunday. Hope you have a nice rest to your weekend. And I will catch you all very soon. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't liked or commented or anything like that, make sure to do so. If you did genuinely like the video today. And happy May. Happy May. I hope you have the best month. Okay. Given the situation with everything that's happening. Yeah, I hope things go well for you guys. I will see you all very soon.